Welcome techies. In today's video, we're going to build a language translator using Python and customtkinter. Customtkinter is going to be used for this graphical user interface, in short for GUI, and then we're going to use Python for the normal logic. Alright, so you can also convert between different languages actually. So I do know a bit of Spanish, so let me convert Buenos Dias, which is good morning in Spanish, to English, so we can see that. And also you can convert, let's say, from English to, let's say you want to convert to Chinese, and then if you translate that, you get what you need. All right, so don't let us waste time on this. You can test this app when you're done building it as well, and let's get into the video. Okay guys, before we get started, we need to install something which is going to help us translate the language. Okay, so that's called Deep Translator. From the Deep Translator, we're going to use the Google API. So I have this installed already, so it will not install it again for me. But if you don't have it installed before now, you see something different from this entirely. Also, if you've not been following my videos, you might need to install something else, which is the last thing here, which is customtkinter. Right, this gives us that rich looking UI we saw earlier, which Tkinter alone cannot give us. Okay, I also have this installed already, and yeah, so it would not be installing it again. If you have challenges installing this, let me know down below. We'll look into that. Alright guys, let's get into this. First off, we'll import customtkinter as CTK. Then we'll import the Google Translator from the Deep Translator library we installed. Alright, let's set up our roots window, and we're going to give it a title of language translator, and let's give it a minimum size of width of 40 and height of 400 rather, and height of 400. We're going to put in the label in there with the text of language translator, font area with size of 30. Now let's align this to the center. That's what the anchor is used for. Alright, so we're going to put every other element in our app frame. So we're going to create an app frame with a width of 500 and height of 500. Now it's important for you to know that these numbers are not magic numbers. They are numbers in which I have tried and they worked. So whenever you're building your own app, you might not just put the right number immediately. You might need to change numbers to see which one fits or which one works for what you want to do. All right, so this one works for what we want to do, and I've tested it. That's why I'm not testing anything right now. So for the foreground color, I'm going to make it transparent. This is what a transparent foreground looks like, and this is what a non-transparent, that is if you do not set it transparent, this is what it looks like. But I prefer when it is transparent. All right, so we're going to make our widget fill the X position and give it a padding on the X sides, that's on the left and right side of 20, and top and bottom of 10, that's pad 1. So let's create a label to tell the users when to input the text they want to translate. We're going to make it expandable, and then we're going to tell it to actually fill the space available for it to expand. So I didn't mention this at the beginning of the video, but also at the end of this video, I'm going to clarify the differences between the expand attribute and the fill attribute. I feel that there's like a confusion in what they mean. All right, so I'm going to talk about that at the end of this video. All right, we're going to create a entry box, give it the height of 50, and then we're going to let it fill our X position. All right, so let's test to see what our apps looks like now. Python language translator.py, and yep, it should look just like this. Perfect. All right, let's get back into the video. I'm going to create a label here with that text, and then we're going to use what we call a CTK option menu. So this is the drop down menu you can use to select from options, just like you saw at the beginning of the video. It's very easy to create, you just need to do this. And then to give it a set of languages, we're going to use the Google Translator API here to get the list of supported languages. So we're going to store that in langs list, and then we're going to pass it to our option menu, so the option menu knows where to pick or take values from. Also, we want to also store whatever language you currently have in our language option menu widget in a variable, so that we can just get the value from that variable, right? So we're going to use language to var for that, and then we're going to set the default language in our CTK option menu to English. So that's why whenever you open it, the first thing you saw was English. It could have as well been whatever other language I wanted it to be. So and then we're going to use the pack layout manager to make sure that works. So let's see what we have so far. I'm going to do Python language translator.py. Let's break it into frame. All right, so as you can see, all right, this works. So I need it to take the full width of the screen there, so it's the same size. So to do that, we're going to use ctk.fill fill certificate of X. So that's going to fill the X position available to it in the widget. And then we don't want it to be too close to the widgets at the top and at the bottom. So we're going to give it a pad Y or 5. Right, that should work. Let's see what that looks like. Perfect. This is exactly what we want. Beautiful. Right. So we're going to create a label for translated text, create an entry to get in translated text, give it the height of 100. So I want this to be a bit larger. I think it just looks good that way. That it's not the same size with our initial entry box. So we're going to give this a text of a placeholder text. You can't do this with normal Tinker. Well, thank God with customtkinter we can put a placeholder text, add the color for the text, which will be gray, and then we're going to make the box disabled initially. So whenever you open the app, you cannot do anything on the box. You can't type anything in there till you've translated something. So you're also going to make this to fill the X as well, just like we did before. And then our button, we're going to create our button to say translate, make it fill the X position as well. And then we're going to give it a padding of top and bottom. Yeah, 20. All right. So let's see what we've got so far. And this looks beautiful. All right. So now I think all that is left is for us to write the logic to translate, Right, so let's do that. We're going to create a function called translate language, and we're going to pass as a callback function to translate button. So whenever we click on our button, it's going to call the translate language function. Now let's define what the function will do, because that's what matters, right? So in this function, we want to get our value of the text we want to translate and also the language we want to translate to. All right, so we're going to translate that using the same Google API. So our source is going to be auto. This is where the magic happens, really. Auto means it doesn't matter the language you put in the first input box. That is the box of enter text to translate here. So whenever I put any input there, it detects the language and then changes it to the target language you have chosen in our drop down menu. That's the CTK option menu. So when we do that, we want to change our translated text. That is where we will see our result states to normal. Because if you don't change it to normal, you cannot input text there. So we need to change that to normal. Delete whatever we have there before. So initially, you might not have anything there. But when you start translating, you might have other things there. So whenever you need to translate another object, it automatically clear what you have there for you before and then input this new output. Now let's see what that looks like. So we're going to say hello world. Better say hello techies. Albania, let's see what that looks like. Okay. So let's try to change this to another language. Let's look at English. So iTech. So I'm not surprised because this language probably don't have the word techies. So this Google Translator API did its best by trying to translate it to iTech, which at least it did a good job in my opinion. So the beautiful thing about this is you can also choose to use another translator. All right, so instead of Google Translator, if you think you have a better option, but you can just change that directly in this translate function, and you do not have to modify your user interface, which I think is nice to do, to be able to do. All right, just like I promised, I was going to go through the difference in these two. The link is also in the description box below, or just check down below. Click on more, you should see it there. So also someone did take his time to do this, try and error. That's why we're going to be able to learn this. So you can give this an upvote if you can, but if you are new, you might not be able to do that. So you might need some repetitions or something. I can't remember what it's called. So this is it basically. You have, for example, if you have your fill and expand to none and you just put your element side to top. So in the app, I didn't position any of them to anywhere because I just wanted them to be where they were. So say you give it side to top, your element is just going to be like this. If you give it side left, it's going to be they're just going to be aligned to whatever side you put them to. But now if you give it side top and then tell it to fill your X, it's going to do this. All right. And then the same thing happens if you give it side left, but it tells you to fill your X. It's going to try to fill your X, but of course since it's at the left, this is where it is, so you cannot fill this whole part. You can only fill the space it has here. Also the same happens here if you put the side bottom. Since it has enough space to fill into here, it's going to take in that space. All right, but if you come down to this place, this is where I want to go to actually. So you can go through this on your own. The link is below. And so in this case where you have your fill X and then you have your expand through, as you can see, it's okay. Let me show you what I'm trying to get at here. Okay, so look at this. here you have side top, fill equals to x, and expand equals to false. So now here you have side top, fill equals to x, but now expand is true. So it's going to take the space, as much space as it can in the container or in the frame that it is in. Okay, so when I mean frame or container, it could be your reach window or any frame you create. So it will take the space available to it that it can take in that container. So that's how expand works. It tries to make it possible for your element to grow to take that space. So now if you look at this, for example, if you look at this now, even though you give it a side of left and tell it to fill y, well, you're giving it expand, so it's going to expand to the center here because it has enough space to take that position. Right, so you can go through this. I don't want to bore you or waste so much time on this, since it's something you can just look at yourself and easily understand. If you enjoy this, do give it a thumbs up, and thanks for watching if you did up to this moment. Peace.